Next, we move on to specification number 2, which asks us to describe the impacts humans have through overharvesting of plant and animal species, and through introducing non-native species into an ecosystem. Let's begin with overharvesting. Overharvesting occurs when plants or animals are removed from the natural environment faster than they can reproduce and replace their populations. As a result, the number of individuals gradually declines over time. Humans overharvest many species for a variety of reasons, including food, clothing, sport, and valuable products such as ivory, horns, bones, and fur. In some regions, for example, bushmeat hunting has greatly reduced populations of primates and other wild animals. If overharvesting continues without allowing populations to recover, it can eventually lead to extinction. This not only threatens individual species but also disrupts ecosystems and reduces biodiversity. Now let's look at overharvesting of crops. Crop plants can also be overharvested. Continuous farming removes large amounts of mineral nutrients from the soil, eventually reducing its fertility to very low levels. This often happens in intensive farming systems where land is cultivated repeatedly without giving it time to recover. As soil nutrients become depleted, crop growth becomes poorer and agricultural productivity declines. Over time, the land may become infertile and unsuitable for farming, leading to environmental degradation and a reduction in biodiversity. As shown in the picture, a combine harvester is transferring harvested grain directly into a tractor-pulled trailer. This is a common practice in modern large-scale agriculture, allowing crops to be harvested quickly and efficiently. The use of advanced machinery has greatly increased food production and enables farmers to manage much larger areas of farmland. This brings us to intensive food production. Intensive farming aims to produce as much food as possible using limited land and resources. Advances in technology have made it possible to meet the needs of a rapidly growing human population by increasing agricultural productivity. However, expanding farmland often replaces natural habitats, disturbing ecosystems and reducing biodiversity. Although intensive farming has many benefits, it must be managed sustainably to minimize its impact on the environment. Another important development is the use of agricultural machinery. Modern farming relies heavily on machinery such as tractors, harvesters, seed drills, irrigation systems, drones, and soil monitoring technologies. These machines allow farmers to work more efficiently, cultivate larger areas of land, and produce higher crop yields while reducing manual labor. However, the repeated use of heavy machinery can compact the soil, damage its structure, and reduce its long-term fertility. The diagram also illustrates how modern technologies such as drones, sensors, and automated equipment are being used in precision agriculture. These technologies help farmers monitor crops more accurately, use resources more efficiently, and improve productivity through data-driven decision-making. Now let's discuss chemical fertilizers. Fertilizers are added to the soil to replace essential mineral nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These nutrients promote healthy plant growth and increase crop yields. However, excessive use of fertilizers can create environmental problems. Rainwater may wash excess nutrients into rivers and lakes, causing water pollution and disrupting aquatic ecosystems through processes such as eutrophication. Next are insecticides and herbicides. Insecticides are chemicals used to kill harmful insects, while herbicides are used to remove unwanted plants, commonly known as weeds. These chemicals protect crops from damage and reduce competition for nutrients, water, and sunlight, resulting in improved crop production. However, they may also kill beneficial organisms, remain in the environment for long periods, and accumulate in food chains. Over time, pests may develop resistance to these chemicals, making them less effective. Another important agricultural practice is selective breeding. Selective breeding involves choosing plants or animals with desirable characteristics, such as higher yields, faster growth, or disease resistance, and breeding them so these traits are passed on to future generations. This improves food production and farming efficiency. However, because only selected individuals are bred, genetic diversity decreases, making crops and livestock more vulnerable to diseases and environmental changes. Finally, let's look at monoculture farming. Monoculture is the practice of growing a single crop over a large area of land. This method makes farming more efficient and allows machinery to be used easily. However, monoculture does not occur naturally and results in low biodiversity because very few species can survive in these simplified ecosystems. As a result, ecosystems become less stable and farmers become increasingly dependent on fertilizers and pesticides. One major disadvantage of monoculture is the increased risk of pest outbreaks. Since the same crop is grown over vast areas, pests have an abundant and continuous food supply, allowing their populations to increase rapidly. Farmers often respond by applying more insecticides, but this may also kill beneficial insects, contribute to environmental pollution, and lead to pesticide resistance, making pest control more difficult in the future.